We just started Manah Siksha, and in the continued absence or holiday time of our dear Gauravani, I'm really happy to be able to serve you and serve Radha Mohan by continuing to read this together. My happiness comes because seeing you makes me happy, because seeing you makes me feel. Seeing you makes me open my heart. And it makes me understand immediately that the mercy doesn't come from some far off place. It comes from associates like you. So it's by doing this in the close distance with our families and friends and partners and lovers, or by doing it with the aid of internet technology and being able to see each other, it opens our hearts and lets us grow spiritually. It lets us feel, and thereby it lets us feel our own soul, our own svarup, and come closer to understanding and realizing that. So you might be confused and thinking that I'm doing something for you, but it's completely the opposite. Completely you're serving me by showing me your sweet faces. Manah Siksha is such a sweet text because, well, many reasons. And I think I talked about some last week, but it's such a sweet text because it's Raghunatha Goswami speaking to his own mind. It's a prayer to his mind. He sits down under a tree somewhere and he says, "Dear mind, dear brother, dear beloved, please help me." So it's a very nice insight into a very modern problem for all of us modern devotees, where information is so important and thinking is so important and thinking quickly is so important. It's a very nice reminder about what thinking can do, what thinking can do spiritually. Everything has to go so fast now. And everything has to go so fast in terms of information. Sending this and that and getting data about this and that and getting documents about this and that. It's not such a problem that it needs to go fast, but it's a problem that we are led to think that information is everything. And those of us who stop for a moment and sit under a tree, like Raghunatha Goswami, understand that information is only a support for our relation to our soul, to our svarup. And that understanding the relation between all this information around us and our hearts is the key to our happiness. We know we have a heart, we know we have a soul, we've come this far in our practice. And then comes the question, particularly for all of us Westerners who live in Western society, what do we do with all this information? And there's so much of it through our computers and our internet activity. There's so much information. And in a way, Raghunatha Goswami is giving us the answer to that question. When I was young and went to university, I took meditation classes, and I learned that that the thoughts are a problem. Thoughts are bad. Thoughts we have to put them aside. And that the aim of meditation was to get rid of thoughts so that we could come to our soul. And this, for me, maybe for you too, was very, very difficult. Because even if I stop thinking like a student or a philosopher, I still need to take the right bus home. I still need to buy the right groceries for my dinner. I need to have information. So it's a very difficult challenge to say information is bad. Well, Raghunath Das Goswami is saying something different. He's saying that the point of the mind is to understand the soul while we're in our material bodies, while we're sadhakavesh, while we're practitioners in our material bodies. The mind is there to serve the soul. And since we know that bhakti says everything about service, devotional service, then we are naturally very interested in knowing what we can do to serve devotionally. So the mind, Raghunath Das Goswami tells us in this Manah Siksha, is not evil, despite my evil thoughts, despite all the impure thoughts I think in the course of the day. It's not evil. It's the path, it's the place where relishing the divine can take place in the material world. It's through the mind that we can learn to love the divine. It's through the mind that we come to understand our soul. It's through the mind that we can go deeper into our soul. And most important of all, for bhaktas like us, it's in the mind that we first can relish the loving pastimes of Radha and Mohan. When we read these in the books we like to read, like Radha Rasa Sudhaniti or Vilap Kusumanjari or others, we're reading with our minds and we're imagining with our minds. These are mental images. But by focusing on the emotions that flow out of these mental images, we become closer to our mind, to our souls, to our hearts. Again and again and again, we hear Raghunath Das Goswami telling us that the mental images we are able to create by reading, thinking, associating, chanting, these open our heart. These lift our soul. These develop the path to the feelings, the source of the feelings, the pure feelings that lie behind these images. So I think for me personally, the greatest challenge of bhakti practice is understanding how everything I do in my devotional service can be connected to my soul. How I can be a sadhaka, a material practitioner, a material bhakta, and find my way to a deeper realization of my soul by living in this material body. And the answer is very special for bhakti. The answer is different from any other spiritual practice you will find. Because material devotion, the kind of things you and I do, is based on a longing for a deeper spiritual devotion, a desire. What do you call that? A hankering. There's an energy that draws us to the soul. And the more we do our material practice, the more that energy becomes present. And this energy is the heart of bhakti. This longing, this wanting, this desiring. So unlike any other practice in Eastern or Western spiritual practice, in those practices, we have truth, we know truth, we have love. In our practice, we long for love, we long for truth, we long to be together with Radha and Mohan, and we long to see them together. So this experience of our material lives is an apprenticeship in longing. Once we become experts in longing, then we are ready for pure spiritual life, for the spiritual plane. So unlike I just think of Christianity or Islam, where we say, this suffering you feel, this is a problem because you're in a material body. And once you leave your body, then the suffering will be over. It's nothing like this for us. For us, it's this desire we have in our spiritual body, in our material bodies, is the heart of our practice. And the more we can deepen that, and the more we can realize it and understand it, the deeper we go into our spiritual practice. And the farther we'll come when it comes time to leave our material bodies. So this is why this Manah Siksha is so important for us, and such a gift. It's so sweet. It's so kind. It's a very tiny book, and if we take a long time about it, it's because that our dear Ananda Das Babaji has lots to say about it. But it's only a one-page book in Raghunath Das Goswami's version of it. The commentary is much longer. So I went through some of the details of this last time, just to remind you. I've already said it a bit, that it's not so much about controlling the mind as understanding the mind. And understanding the difference between mind and soul. Just like we don't need to hate the material world like Christianity or Islam would teach us. The material world is not evil. We just have not understood its spiritual function. So that's one message we'll come back to again and again. And then another message was about devotion. Understanding the mind means understanding that the purpose of the mind is to bring us to feeling and devotion. Renunciation was another theme. Renunciation doesn't mean simply giving up the body, giving up material sensations, which would be impossible since we're in a material body and we need to feel the earth under our feet and we need to not bump into cars in the street. So we need to have our senses. It's not about renouncing that. Renunciation in bhakti means renouncing false ego, renouncing ignorance about what the material body is and what the material body is not. It means renouncing ego and pride. We'll come back to pride today. And it means renouncing attachment. Again, it's not that the material world is evil, it's that our attachment to it is a problem. If we confuse, we can live in the material world easily if we don't confuse the material world with the spiritual world. As long as we understand the difference and the relation, then there's no problem at all. And we can do great things in the material world. There was some talk last week about association with devotees. You know this very well. How it can help us to focus our thinking when we're having discussions and seeing examples of devotees who are embracing our values. There was some discussion about chanting and Harikatha hearing. And then there was lastly some discussion about surrender. And I think what we said last time was that surrender doesn't mean giving up power in order to give power to another who is more powerful, sort of like the military idea of surrendering. Surrendering means embracing your own soul and embracing the idea that your soul is your true reality. And that by embracing that, we easily embrace the soul of Guru, the soul of Acharyas, and the soul of Radha Mohan. Let's repeat the verse that we had last time. It was so sweet. Here's the English translation by Advaita Das. O mind, O brother, I hold your feet and I pray to you with flattering words. Always give up your pride and develop wonderful love for your spiritual master, the abode of Braj, the people of Braj, saintly devotees, the Brahmanas, my initiation mantra, the holy name of Krishna, and the shelter of the eternally youthful couple of Raj, Shri Shri Radha Krishna. So we talked in detail about this last time. I won't repeat too much. But there are two parts of the verse. The one is give up pride, means give up the belief that the world is there for you and that you are so clever and wonderful that you deserve the world somehow. This is pride. So give this up, and the moment you give that up, you will automatically feel devotion for this list of things that you should have devotion for. What were they? They were Guru, the spiritual master, Vraj, the people of Vraj, the saints, or the saintly devotees, the Brahmanas, the intellectuals, the mantra, the holy name, and last but not least, the loving couple of Raj, Radha, Mohan. And again, I remind you, before we go too long and forget, it's Raghunath praying to his mind. He says, look, mind, look, intelligence, wait a minute. stop with the pride and give devotional love to these elements, to these parts of our life, Guru and Vraj and saints and people of Raj and so on and so forth, and above all, Radha and Mohan. But what is really miraculous about the verse, if we take it all together in one bit, it's that the moment we let go of pride, all the rest will happen automatically. It's not like we try very hard for many years to give up our pride, and we say, okay, pride is gone, now what? And then we look on the list that Raghunath gives us and we do the next thing. No, not at all. As soon as the mind gives up this fierce attachment to the idea that the world is there for me, then the rest is waiting for us in our souls, in our Swarup, in our hearts. So it's not step one and then step two. It's that once pride is gone, the nature of the soul will become free. Pride is like a lock on the door to the soul. False ego is a lock on the door to the soul. Once we realize we have a soul, once we realize we are a soul, then there's nothing else to do. Then the soul becomes our world, becomes our reality. So that's maybe the main message of this, what we said last time, that giving up pride and feeling devotion for all these things are not two steps in a process, like baking a cake. First you add the flour, then you add the water, and then the chocolate, and blah, blah. But they happen together. When pride is gone, devotion is immediately present. Which means that self-realization is not work. Self-realization means to stop working, stop trying, stop biting the teeth together to believe that I need to do this work for me, that I am the point, that I am the meaning. Once we stop trying that so hard, then there's nothing else in our being, in our soul, in our hearts, than devotion. So to use the words of Prabhupada, the constitutional position, what we are when we're being ourselves is devotional, is loving, is serving. So it's not do your practice, become yourself, enter into your Swarup, and then you say, okay, what shall I do next? Maybe I'll be devotional. No, it's not like this at all. Becoming yourself means discovering that you were already a lover. That loving is your natural state, your constitutional position. That the nature of the soul is to give happiness to others. Happiness above all to God. And the best way to do that, to give love to God, is to give happiness to others. To your husband and wife, to your children, to your colleagues, to your lovers, to your friends, to your cousins. And last but not least, to the people you don't even know. This is why we're happy when we love. It's not because love is a nice drug or like a sweet we can pop in the mouth. It's because love is who we are. That's why we're happy when we love. It's not because we have to be somebody else than what we are, something that's nice. It's that when we're loving, we're being ourselves. That's why we feel happy when we love. This is the goal of everything. Loving others means loving God, which is another, and the name of that is prema. That's what we are. That's who we are. So the call of bhakti is not to become somebody you're not, because it's much better if you're that. The call of bhakti is much nicer. It's please be yourself. Become yourself. This is not easy, as we know. So I don't mean to simplify. It's not easy, but this is the goal. This is clearly the goal.
Radhe Radhe, dear Uddhava Prabhu. I would like to share something about pride, coming back to the term pride.
Wonderful.
In Vilapakusumanjali, I think it's in Vilapakusumanjali that you read about that the Manjaris are so proud and they have this pride to serve Swamini. So can we understand that our proudness, we say proudness? Or
Pride.
to be pride is that it's more coming from the ego, and we can develop slowly that we shift this pride, like the Manjaris have for their Swamini. They are so proud to be her servants, and
Very good question. Very nice. Thank you. I had a couple of years ago, I had big discussions with Gurudev and others about exactly this point. I said, wait a minute, we're not supposed to have pride. And then it says the Manjaris are so proud. And I had to learn from Gurudev and Jayananda Maharaj, I think, was there, that it's exactly as you say. That pride for the Manjaris is pleasure and happiness from their love, which is caused by the love that they have, the service they give to their Swamini. And that, just like you said, pride in material life is pride about material accomplishments. I'm proud because I have this job, or I'm proud because I live in this nice house, or these kinds of things. And these will only block us. So it's a different kind of pride, but I couldn't say it better than you do. I should just shut up. But it's pride for the Manjaris that they have, that they have the privilege to give this love. They have the privilege to serve. And as for the second part, that our spiritual path is making a shift, a transformation from this material attachment to a spiritual attachment or a spiritual pride. Yes, I think that's true. And the realization comes not by saying, oh, it's stupid that I love my car. The realization comes by understanding that everything that brought me to my car was an expression or desire for the love of Radha. That I was wrong. I was mistakenly thinking that buying a beautiful car would help me give love and get love. But once I understand that the desire at the bottom of it was love, this is how we establish this spiritual pride you're talking about. So everything in our material lives, all our false ego and all the things we often criticize, they come from a place of love, which is good and which is natural. But it's a place of love that gets misdirected. We get confused. We think we feel the love. We feel Radha's love in our hearts. We feel the pride of the manjaris in our hearts. And we say, oh, the best way to do that, to live that, would be to buy a big house. And then we go to this material pride and we think that, I'm so proud of my house. I'm such a successful person. But we've forgotten that actually the love that energized us to go to work and work hard and save money and buy the house, that love was actually spiritual. So material attachment is never completely wrong. It's just it's like taking the wrong road, turning right on the road when you should have turned left. It's taking the wrong route to realizing your love. It's coming from the same origin. And this will be controversial, but I'll say it. It's going to take you to the same goal. It will take you much longer to reach your goal of self-realization if you do it by owning many cars. But the love that inspires you to try to love by buying cars and making money, that will have the same goal as the one who expresses love by sweeping the floor of the temple. It's the same love. It's the same origin and it's the same end, but the path will be much, much longer, millions of lives longer. But the point is that the love is the same. So it can never be a matter of judging ourselves or judging others. Because the goal is the same and the inspiration is the same. It's just that we got a bit confused about the means, how to do it. Yeah. Thank you, dear. In the commentary now from Anantadas Babaji, there are two main themes in this, what we'll talk about today. And one is Guru. What is a Guru? What is the role of Guru? And this is a theme that we all like very much. And there's a smaller theme about morality and good and bad. And we can link this question about good and bad to Guru, because in material world, when we talk about good and bad, we talk about who decides good and bad. Who's the judge? Who knows what is right and what is wrong? And then the question comes up, well, is this Guru? So we'll come back to that in a minute. To start this comment, then Anantadas Babaji cites Jiva Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis, one of the great, maybe the most philosophical of the 6 Goswamis, in his book called Bhakti Sandarbha. He says this: the cause of perfection, which consists of God's grace, is based on the satisfaction of the Guru. By serving him, different kinds of mischief, which are otherwise hard to give up, disappear. The cause of perfection, which is the Guru's grace, is based on the satisfaction of the Guru. by serving him, different kinds of mischief, which are otherwise hard to give up, they disappear. Now, there's a really very important point here to clarify. And I know this in particular because when before I became a devotee, many people in my life would say, oh, this idea of a guru, he's pretending to be God. So it's very dangerous. He's pretending to be God, and then he tells us to do things that only God should tell us to do. And this blocked me. It probably blocked me in my first years of being a devotee too. But this is a very common Western idea. But this is a wrong understanding of guru. Guru is not a man or a woman. Guru is not an ego. Guru is not even material. Guru is not God. And like our Gurudev says, Guru is not the goal. Guru is the consciousness, the spiritual consciousness, where we can find our way toward the divine. Guru is not a thing. Guru is a flow. Guru is a relationship. And the mercy of Guru Kripa, is not opening the bank box full of something beautiful that he or she gives to us, that he or she's been hiding for the good devotees and not giving to the bad devotees or something foolish like this. Guru is the place where an exchange happens.
Radhe Radhe.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Uddhava, thank you so much. It's such a great lecture today. Jai Gurudev. And can you please repeat this sentence? Gurudev is the spiritual consciousness?
Yes, Gurudev, not Gurudev, that's one person, that's one soul. Guru is not a material being, is not an ego. Guru is a soul. That's what I was trying to say. That Guru is not a guy sitting somewhere. Guru is a soul and a spiritual guide. Guru is not somebody who possesses some gift, like, I don't know, I possess a box full of diamonds. And if you're a good devotee, you'll get some diamonds from the Guru. And if you're a bad devotee, you won't get some diamonds from the Guru. No, this is not it. Guru has nothing. Guru is something. And Guru is a place, a spiritual place where we can communicate with the divine. He's a pure soul, or she is a pure soul. So that if we want to have a relation with a pure soul and purify our soul, then we have a relation with Guru. Our dear Gurudev says this 100 times. He'll say often that everything is because of my Guru. Everything is because of my Guru. I see the divine in all my devotees as my guru. So even Guru says, I am also nothing. I am nobody in the material sense. But in the spiritual sense, he's a pure soul who gives us the opportunity to directly connect with the divine, with the pure soul. So Guru has nothing to give. Nothing. And he wants nothing. He takes nothing. Guru is this place where the divine can meet the divine. A meeting with Guru is a meeting with the entire parampara. It's a meeting with 1,000,000 souls. And if your meeting with Guru is successful, then it's a connection of your soul to the soul to these 1,000,000 souls. I repeated a little bit. Did this explain?
Thank you.
I don't see Gurudev screaming and shouting, so I think it was okay what I said. It's very important, and this is why Gurudev often tells us, I am not the goal, I'm the guide. I'm the navigator. Because you see so often in spiritual life, both in the West and in the East, that the Guru becomes the goal, the point. And there are a lot of things in this commentary that will help us, that can be easily confused as that. And that's why I wanted to bring this up now. And so in this point of the commentary of Anantadas Babaji, he's talking about doing the right thing and the wrong thing for Guru. So we need to understand this in the way that I just described. Here's what Babaji says. There are many kinds of anarthas, such as offenses, which are very powerful, and they hinder the progress of devotee from advancing towards the attainment of prema. So what is anartha? This is very important. This is very helpful to just meditate on anartha. It's a word everybody knows, right? It's often translated as sin, right? Or vice or something very evil like this. But anartha, well, artha means meaning. It means goodness. It means purpose. It means value. And if we put an on any word in Sanskrit, then it means something that's opposed to that. So anartha means something that blocks meaning, blocks purpose, blocks goodness, blocks value. It stands in the way. So what some people call sin in the Christian or the Jewish or the Islamic sense, something fundamentally evil, for us that means only that it's something that stands in the way of our own spiritual realization, stands in the way of us becoming ourselves, stands in the way of our soul. So it's not an absolute bad, it's practical. It's a practical problem. It's like having the key to the door to the soul. If you don't have the key, you can't open the door. So it's not evil, an anartha. It's something which is in the way of where we're going. It's not moral, it's practical. And then we have a citation that Anantadas Babaji gives from Bhaktivedanta Thakur. which goes into this idea about morality. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, my greatest fear is that these obstacles won't disappear. So first of all, this is agreeing with what I'm trying to say, that anarthas are obstacles. They're not evil. They're things in the way. And the worst thing to fear, says Bhaktivinoda Thakur, is that they will not get out of the way. And actually, our spiritual practice is nothing other than trying to get these things out of the way. And now comes a long verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very interesting in this way. And Babaji says, to introduce it, he says this: in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is seen that there is a particular way to give up each specific vice. Vice means sin or bad thing. But there is only one way to give up all these vices at once. Devotion to the lotus feet of Sri Guru. So a couple things to notice here. First of all, you get rid of vices by doing devotion. So nothing about guilt and innocence or good and bad. If you start loving, they're gone. That's point number one. And then point number two is this loving devotion has to happen at the lotus feet of Guru. And that means Guru is the most, Guru is the closest, what do I want to say? The closest access, that's it. The closest door to the soul. Guru is a pure soul. Guru is a realized soul. Guru is as close to the divine as we will come in our immediate material lives. He is not the divine. The material ego consciousness of Guru is not divine, but his soul, because it is pure, is divine. Your soul and my soul is also divine, but blocked. So we would say impure. My soul is divine in its nature, but it's impure because I'm blocking it with all sorts of material blockages. Guru is defined as the one whose soul is unblocked. So it's not that Guru is God, but that Guru is the door to the divine, the purified soul, which gives us the possibility to connect with the divine, to see the divine, to feel the divine. Okay, here's the verse from Bhagavatam. In the translation, Shri Narada told King Yudhishthira, to give up lust, one must give up one's determination to enjoy. To give up anger, one must give up lust. And to give up greed, one must see the evil of money. Fear can be given up considering the truth. Lamentation and illusion can be given up by considering what is material and what is spiritual. Pride can be given up by serving a great soul. And obstacles in yoga practice, which serves the purpose of fixing the mind, can be overcome by perfecting a vow of silence. Violence is conquered by giving up endeavors for sense gratification. Suffering caused by other living entities can be mitigated by developing the quality of compassion. Suffering caused by the elements can be mitigated by entering into samadhi, so psycho-religious trance. And suffering caused by our own body and mind can be mitigated by practicing the eightfold path of mystic yoga, Ashtanga yoga. So it's a long list, this verse. There's one more bit, I'll come back to that in a minute. It's a long list of all the sins, of all the vices, of all the anarthas. And I think that really it's kind of a joke, it's kind of being funny or ironic, this verse. Because it's saying all these things that were absolute evils, that you're accused of by your judge, the great God, they're actually things you do in real life to get rid of them. They're completely practical. So you don't have to die and go to heaven and then request forgiveness by the person at the gate of heaven and say, well, I did that, and could you please let me into heaven? No. You do some practical things with your mind and with your mind in relation to your soul. So we can go through the list again and say, well, if you want to get rid of lust, which is considered to be bad, you give up the idea that pleasure is the goal of life. If you give up the idea that pleasure is goal of life and you give it up completely, you know what we'll get? You know what the result will be? You will have pleasure. Wonderful, huh? You give up the idea that the point of this is my pleasure. Once you completely release that attachment, the result will be your bliss, your pleasure. Then it says to give up anger, one must give up lust. Okay, and greed, we drop the idea that money is the goal. And fear is caused by being attached to material things. These are all changes of consciousness, changes of understanding of who we are, changes of our relation to our soul. And all of them take place in the mind. But we can go through this list. I won't, to save a bit of time, but we could go through the list and see that all of these are really clear and practical activities that we can do in order to increase our happiness. And the very last one was from Bhagavatam now. When the mode of goodness increases, sleep is conquered, along with the modes of passion and indolence. And by controlling the senses, the mode of goodness is transcended. But all the services and obstacles together can be conquered. Here it comes. Listen carefully. Simply by being devoted to the Guru. All of these things can be overcome by being devoted to the Guru. I repeat, does this mean being devoted to the Guru, the man or the woman? To the ego of the man or the woman? To the property of the man, the woman? No. This means being devoted to the soul of the Guru. When we are devoted to the soul of Guru, which is our most, proximate, the closest expression of the divine, then we are freed of these obstacles. If we really wanted to start worshiping the Guru, if we really said the Guru was the goal, our sufferings will continue and continue forever. And I think there are actually lots of real-life examples of this. Now come more quotations by Anantadas Babaji about this idea of attachment to the Guru. And Babaji says, after describing the path of surrender, Srimad Jiva Goswami Pad. So Jiva Goswami writes, in Bhakti Sandarbha, the following. Although all worship reaches perfection by surrendering to the Lord, since in the Garuda Purana it is written, those who surrender to the Lord will transcend the mortal world even without practicing yoga or meditation, and will attain the planet of Lord Vishnu. Of this there is no doubt. So there's a long parenthesis. So even though, although worship reaches perfection by surrendering to the Lord, still someone who desires a special perfection in worship or relishing transcendental flavors will always particularly serve and worship the lotus feet of his guru. It is either the guru who teaches him the holy scriptures about the personality of Godhead, or the guru who initiates him in the sacred mantras of the personality of Godhead. Lots and lots of words saying something, I think, that's simple. Just like the soul of God has a personality, the soul of Guru has a personality. And the fact that we are attracted to the soul of Guru does not mean that we are attracted to his power and opulence and his ego and his material beauty. It means we're attracted to the special way that his soul interacts with the soul of God. And the way the divinity in our soul will connect with the divine is shaped ever so gently, ever so preciously by the soul of Guru. I did not walk out into the street and meet Radha Mohan. I met Radha Mohan through the presence of the soul of Guru, of Gurudev. So my relation to Radha Mohan will always, even though Guru is not the goal, my relation to Radha Mohan will always have a special flavor, which comes from the fact that I met Radha Mohan through him. Babaji describes this idea with the words Angi and Anga, you might have heard. He says, the special perfection mentioned here means that in some cases, the hearing, chanting, and remembering of the Lord's glories is the primary practice, the Angi, and the service of the Guru is one of its items, Anga. So Angi, Angi means a body, like a human body or an animal body or a tree, and then Anga is the limbs. So Angi is the whole and Anga is the parts. And so Babaji is saying that this part of the divine that we have contact with in our practice is the Guru. So there's a part and a whole. That's a very nice way to explain. I think it's very nice also to think in the way I described it, of the flavor. There's a very special flavor in our Gurudev, a very special way of being, a way of speaking, a way of doing, a way of treating other people. And all of these come from Radha Mohan, but they're expressed in a different way than perhaps another guru would express them, coming from same Radha Mohan. Every soul has a personality. Every soul is unique. So our path to Radha Mohan is unique as well, because it goes through our experience and our connection with our our Guru. Now comes another very controversial idea, which we need to clarify. Babaji says, this is called ordinary service to the Guru. But even in this case, so everyday service to the Guru, even in this case, the satisfaction of the Guru is considered to be the cause of the Lord's satisfaction. What does this mean? Actually, let's read a little farther and then we'll explain. But when the Guru himself becomes the main object of worship, and the hearing, chanting, and remembering of the Supreme Lord merely become different parts or side effects of the worship of the Guru, we call it special service to the Guru. Here, the satisfaction of the Guru is the main goal, and the satisfaction of the Lord is concomitant. That means comes number second. And in this way, the disciple is blessed. What does it mean to say Guru is satisfied? When is Guru happy? I have seen a devotee give to Guru Dev a small mango, and I've seen a devotee give to Gurudev an automobile. And the happiness that Gurudev felt was not based on the gift, it was based on the sincerity of the heart of the devotee. Gurudev is satisfied, Guru is satisfied when the heart is pure, when the devotion is pure, when the giving is earnest, when the giving is pure and clear. Because when the giving is pure and clear and earnest and sincere, that means, exactly what that means is that the giving is the giving to the soul. It's not a giving to the pocketbook. It's not a giving to the garage. It's the giving to the heart. Have you ever seen the happiness of Gurudev when he receives one mango from a sincere devotee? And he'll get tears in his eyes for happiness because the sincerity is there. And it can be the same. There's nothing wrong with giving a car to Gurudev. And he can be equally happy. I've never seen it, but he can be equally happy with receiving €1 million if the sincerity is there. The question is it coming from the soul and is it going to the soul? Guru is satisfied when the heart is pure. Krishna is satisfied when Guru is satisfied, and Guru is satisfied when the heart is pure. Guru is never the goal. Guru is always the path to the goal, which is Prem, loving God. Babaji then quotes Jiva Goswami, who says, a devotee who is thus attached to the worship of his Guru does not need to practice any worship of the Supreme Lord. This can also be confusing. If the devotee is so attached to the pure soul of the Guru, and the devotee's soul is so pure, then the Supreme Lord is already there in these souls. The divine is already there, and there's already a spiritual practice of the worship of the divine that's happening there. It's not worship of the guru, it's worship of the divine, which is purely to be found in the heart of the guru. Worshipping means attending to the soul of the guru. So serving guru is not a job, it's a privilege. Serving guru is like cleaning in front of the gates to Goloka. It's being as close as we can to the divine. That is why serving guru is the most wonderful privilege, the most wonderful gift. It's not a punishment. It's not to humiliate you. It's not to show you how little you are. No, it's a great, great gift. Again, it doesn't mean worshiping the material guru. It doesn't mean worshiping the material consciousness of guru. It means worshiping the divine that's present in the pure heart of the guru. Babaji goes on, in this special case, the Lord will be more pleased with the devotee's service of his guru than of his service to himself. In this connection, Shri Jiva Goswami quotes a verse from Davahuti's praise in the Padma Purana. So Davahuti is a very important character in the Purana. She's married to a great sage, Kardama, and their marriage is considered to be extremely harmonious, extremely pure. Anyway, she says, Davahuti says, surely Lord Hari will reveal himself to me if I am even more devoted to my guru than to him. So the idea again is that by serving the pure essence of the soul revealed in the guru, we can come closer to God than by somehow serving directly God in the spiritual world. It's not because I'm a good devotee to my guru, and therefore I get a reward, a prize from Krishna. It's that by being a pure devotee to a pure guru, that Krishna is already there. Serving the soul of guru, which means serving the guru parampara, which means serving the divine itself. Babaji says, hence, Narottama Thakur Mahashaya has said, this is from Prema Bhakti Chandrika, maybe, not sure. He says, the lotus feet of the Guru are the abode of pure devotion, and I carefully praise them. O brother, by this grace, by his grace, you will cross over the ocean of material miseries, attain the mercy of Krishna. The lotus feet of Guru are the abode of pure devotion. This does not mean the material feet. This means the portal, the opening to the pure soul. And that is the abode of devotion. As open as my soul might be, I always need another soul to have relation with. I always need another soul to give devotion to. And the most wonderful possibility for that is Guru. And we don't need to be massaging his feet with nice oil in Munga Mandir in Vrindavan in order to find this abode. When we massage his feet, it can give him comfort and pleasure and make his bhajan easier. But it's in our hearts that this devotion takes place. The lotus feet are always spiritual. We always symbolically touch the feet of a acharya, but it's only based on the idea that the dust that's on the feet of the acharya is somehow fallen from the spiritual feet of the spiritual acharya. So it's the abode, this place where relation happens, spiritual relation happens. So it continues from Narottam Thakur. Let the words flowing from the lotus mouth of your Gurudev become fixed in your heart. Don't desire anything else. The highest goal of life is to love the lotus feet of the Guru. For by his grace, all desires will be filled. Also, the mouth of Guru is not, it's materially interesting. It's the spirit of the words that come from the mouth that mean something for us. If Gurudev says, the rains are coming this afternoon, we can, of course, look on our app and find out that the rains were coming this afternoon. Who cares? But when they come from his pure heart, we can imagine what he feels about the rains, how the air will soften and soften his feelings, soften his heart, how the temperature will cool, how the humidity will rise. All of these through the imagination of Guru. Then we understand what the lotus mouth of Guru is. My iPhone can say the rains are coming this afternoon, but only by feeling the feelings of Guru from 1,000 miles away or 100,000 can we come closer to the divine and to the divine in our own hearts. Babaji says, we think that Srimad Das Goswami Pad, so Raghunath, also speaks about such excessive love for Sri Gurudev when he speaks about Apurvarati. Apurvarati. That's words from the verse 1. Apurva means unequaled, nothing like it, nothing bigger. And then Rati, you know that word, means love, passionate devotion. So Apurvarati is it's a devotional love that cannot be, there's nothing greater than it. And in the verse, you remember, it said, this is what we need to give. We need to drop our pride and we need to give apuram ratim. We need to give this unequaled devotional love. And then you remember the list of things we should give it to. It's the Guru, it's the Vraj, it's devotees, and so on. But the first one is Guru. Babaji continues and says, Shripad Raghunath Das desires such an excessive attachment to Shri Vrajdam too. So Vrajdam was one of the things in the list of things he should give devotional love to. Give up pride and give devotional love to Vrajdam. So being in Vraj. And this will be the last thing we talk about now today, is about places. You've probably heard the idea that, well, if you can't go to Vraj, you should be in Vraj in your heart, in your mind. And this is what we're focusing on here in the end. He goes on, Babaji goes on and says, Sri Rupa Goswami has taught that living in Braj is one of the 5 most powerful items of devotion, which will grant love to the lotus feet of the Lord. And then it says the others are associating with devotees, worshipping the deity, hearing the Bhagavatam, and chanting the holy names. This is all in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And now he cites the Padma Purana about places. Padma Purana says, in other holy places, liberation is the great benefit, but Hari Bhakti, which is prayed for, so Prema Bhakti, what we practice, Hari Bhakti, which is prayed for even by the liberated souls, is attained in Mathura. Oh, blessed is Mathura, which is even greater than Vaikunta. Simply by living there for only one day, devotion to Hari awakens in the heart. So we should be attached to Braj, it says in the first verse of Manah Siksha. But then we must think carefully about what Braj is. Mathura or Braj is a state of devotion, an experience of devotion. It's a place, yes, it's on Google Maps, but it's not a place. It's a spiritual plane. And when we go there with our hearts. And here's something very strange. If you go to Vraj in material plane, if you go to Vrindavan and visit and walk in the streets, the real saints you see there are not in material Vraj. They're in Vrindavan Dham. They're in material Vraj. The same material Vraj you can visit from your room in Paris. They've gone to the same place. They're not in the material place. So it's very nice if you can go to material Vrindavan. Very nice. But once you're there, you'll only want to go to spiritual Vrindavan. And that's where you find yourself. The Goswamis, this is Babaji again, the Goswamis have said that living in Vraj is indispensable item, so it's a necessary item for someone who wants to attain perfection of love. So the famous verse is, Kuryad Vasham Vraja Sada, we should always live in Vraj. It is also advised that those who are unable to live there physically should live there at least mentally. The condition being that one must be aware of the transcendental glories of the Dham while living there. But what I'm saying to you is that even to live there materially, we only have one purpose, and that's to live there spiritually. Everyone in Braj who is in bliss is in spiritual Braj. And this, Babaji says, I think, clearly now, one must live there with love, faith, and devotion. So it doesn't matter how long you walk around in the streets of Braj, you're only truly in Braj if you're there with love, faith, and devotion. If this is not possible, then one will consider the transcendental Dham to be a material place and commit offenses there. So if you're going, Gurudev sometimes says, if you're a tourist, if you're a spiritual tourist in Braj, then you'll only go backwards. So you can walk around all you want in Vrindavan in the streets, but if you do it in material consciousness, you will only fall back. Because, as Babaji says, one cannot reap the devotional results of living in Dham if one is not embracing, surrendering to it. So we'll finish today with a quotation from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 5. The topmost abode is Sri Gokula, or Vrajdam, which is also called Sri Goloka, Svedadvip and Vrindavan. This abode is endless, all-pervading, and omnipresent. And it's just like Krishna's body. Just like Krishna's body, it spreads below and above without any rule. But by Krishna's wish, it is manifest in the material world in one form, Ekai Swarup. It has no two forms. Sorry, it sounds strange, that's what's written. It has no two forms. The soil is made of chinta jewels and the forests are full of desire trees. The material eyes see it as a material place, but eyes filled with the love of God see it in its real form, where Krishna plays with the gopas and the gopis. So if we look with our spiritual eyes, if we look from our Swarup, from the point of view of our soul, even just one little entry into our Swarup, we will see one complete world. And it's the world that is described in Vilapa Kusmanjari and Radha Sasudhanidhi and other beautiful books, where the soil is made of jewels and the sky is filled with desire trees. This is the place we're going to when we're going to Gokula. Not to a material place. And even if we're in the material Vrindavan, unless we practice devotion there, live in devotion there, we will not find the spiritual place. It's a spiritual reality. It is the reality. It's the only reality. And through the acharyas, the Goswamis, the sadhus, and finally, and not least, through our Gurudev, that we are able to get a glimpse of it by descriptions and by talking and by describing, which we can grasp only through our minds, through our Manah. And this is the grace and the glory of the Manah, that it lets us sit at the feet of Gurudev, sit in the Zoom class, listen to recordings, and listen to descriptions of this, which we can grasp with our intelligence, and let them evolve, let them ripen into emotions and to devotional relations to Gokula, to Vraj Dham. And here we'll stop for today, my dears. Any other comments or sharing? are always welcome.